My name is Nana Taylor, and for once, I'm going to tell it the way it actually happened. I was the one who planned the cruise. 5 tickets, 2 upgraded cabins so my parents could brag about finally traveling like adults, shore excursions carefully scheduled so they wouldn't argue in front of strangers, flights with easy layovers so mom wouldn't complain about rushing, and a pre-cruise hotel night with spa add-ons. The total came to just over $12,000. I didn't ask them for a cent. I told myself it was a gift. I told myself it would be healing. A week before their flight, the family group chat went silent. Mom's messages got vague. Can't wait. And we'll see how we feel. My older sister dodged every question about packing. My youngest sister, 16, bright-eyed, and terrible at lying, suddenly stopped sending me her usual stream of updates. Silence has a sound when you grow up in a family like mine. It's the warning hum before the lights go out. 2 nights before departure, I called Dad to confirm the airport pickup times. No surprises, I said, half joking. He sounded overly cheerful, like a man rehearsing good news for someone else. Oh, we've arranged a shuttle to the hotel, he said. I froze. What shuttle? He hesitated just long enough to let the truth take shape. Then, we figured it'd be better without you. That was it. No laugh, no softening, no just kidding. Just those words, dropped like a weight into the silence. I didn't text back for nearly an hour. My phone lay face down on the couch while I tried to remember how to breathe normally. Across from me, my boyfriend James watched quietly, arms folded. He's good at reading pauses. Years ago, he dated a woman named Melissa who loved to twist people into knots just to see who would apologize first. Manipulation makes his skin crawl now. When I finally replied, I wrote 2 words, sure thing. And when I hit send, something inside me went still, the kind of still that comes right before winter decides to stay. The next morning at 6:13 a.m., my phone lit up like a siren. Mom had called 22 times before I even got out of bed. By 6:30, there were missed calls from both sisters, frantic texts from Dad, and a voicemail filled with yelling. The cruise line had refused to let them board without the cardholder present. I made coffee, slow and deliberate. Sunlight spilled across the counter. James leaned against the doorway. Something happen? He asked, voice calm. They tried to cut me out, I said, and now the cruise won't let them cut me out. He gave me that dry half smile of his. That's what they get, eggs or toast. By the time Mom called again, her 23rd attempt, I picked up. I put her on speaker. Nana, this is ridiculous. Do you know how you've humiliated us? The staff treated us like criminals, she shouted. We're standing at the port with our bags and everyone's staring. I took a sip of coffee. You should have thought about that before deciding I wasn't worth having around. You need to call the cruise company and authorize them. No, I said simply, and hung up. 3 hours later, they were pounding on my front door. It was almost noon. I'd already had breakfast with James, walked our dog, and promised myself I wouldn't answer. But the banging kept going, heavy and impatient. I stood at the top of the stairs for a few seconds, watching their shadows distort through the frosted glass. James came up beside me. Want me to handle it? I shook my head. No, I want to see their faces. I opened the door. Mom barged in first, radiating indignation. Dad followed, quiet but no less entitled. They didn't wait for permission. Funny how people who disinvite you still treat your home like it's theirs. It's beyond childish, Nana, Mom began, dropping her handbag on my chair like she was planting a flag. The staff humiliated us. They thought we were scammers. After everything we've done for you. After everything I paid for you, I said. Dad lifted his hands. Let's not yell. We just need to talk this out. That phrase, we just need to talk this out, has always meant you'll take the blame. Mom's voice climbed an octave. You embarrassed us. You ruined what should have been a beautiful family moment. If you didn't want to come, you could have just said so. I didn't say I didn't want to come, I said evenly. You said you didn't want me there. She glared, her cheeks flushed. If you can't forgive us, that's your problem. But you made your father and me look like fools. James came downstairs then, barefoot, still calm. He leaned against the wall, arms crossed. He didn't speak until Mom aimed the next dagger at him. Ever since you started dating him, you've changed. You've become cold, distant, calculating. He straightened. Leave, he said quietly. You don't get to insult her in her own home and still expect her to fix your mistake. 30 seconds. Dad tried to mediate, but Mom was already in full meltdown. She screamed one last insult at him, something about how he'd poisoned me, then stormed out. Dad followed, muttering apologies no one believed. The door clicked shut behind them. James joined me on his couch and didn't say a word. That's how I knew he understood. The silence that followed was louder than all the shouting. For 3 days, nothing. No messages, no apologies, just silence. Then on the fourth night, Dad texted, "Dinner, just you, not James. We need to talk." Part of me wanted to delete it. Another part, the naive one that still believed people change, thought maybe, just maybe, they were ready to talk like adults. When I told James I'd go, I added, "Stay nearby, just in case." He nodded. "I'll be across the street." Their porch light was already on, even though the sun hadn't set. Too bright, too welcoming, like they were trying to script sincerity. Inside, the good dishes gleamed, napkins folded. Wine I'd once gifted them sat uncorked. My older sister smiled like a hostess at a wake. My youngest sister stared at her plate, tense. They filled the silence with small talk. Mom asked about work. Dad asked about James, then the dog. I answered in half sentences. Every question sounded rehearsed. Halfway through dinner, Dad leaned back and cleared his throat. "It's a shame the cruise didn't work out," he said lightly. "But the family still needs a little vacation. We found a great deal. A resort in Arizona. 5 nights. Spa, infinity pool. Only $5,000. I stared at the brochure Mom slid across the table. "Who's paying?" Dad chuckled. "You handle logistics so well." My older sister added, "If we all split it, it'll be easier for you." "For me, always for me." I looked at my youngest sister. She finally whispered, almost too quietly to hear, "They won't stop." Mom's head snapped toward her. "Enough." I pushed back my chair. "I'll think about it." Outside, James was waiting in the car, engine off, watching the porch. I slid in beside him, wordless. That night, I sent my parents $1,000. Not 5, just 1. No message, no explanation. And for once, the silence that followed felt like peace. The next morning, my phone stayed silent. No thank you text, no heart emoji, just quiet. By afternoon, though, that familiar number lit up the screen. Dad. "Can we stop by tomorrow?" the message read. No guilt trip this time, no sighing ellipses, just calm. Like someone easing open a locked door. I showed it to James. He read it twice, expression unreadable. "Your move," he said simply. I waited a long moment, feeling that uneasy tingle that comes when a storm pretends to be weather. "Fine," I said. 1 o'clock. The next day, they showed up right on time. That was already suspicious. My parents are never punctual unless they're rehearsing something. They approached the house smiling too wide like sales reps. Mom wore her good blouse, soft peach with pearl buttons, her performing mother outfit. Dad carried a gift bag decorated with gold foil leaves. They looked like they'd practiced this moment in the car mirror before ringing the bell. James opened the door, but didn't step aside. Mom beamed. "Hi, sweetheart. We just wanted to drop something off." Dad added, "Peace offering." James looked at me. I nodded once, and he stepped back but didn't go far. They walked in like they owned the oxygen. Mom's eyes darted over the living room. The plants, the framed travel photos, the new rug. "Lovely home," she said, like she hadn't insulted my taste 3 weeks ago for being too modern. Dad set the gift bag on the coffee table and sat down without waiting for an invitation. "We've been reflecting," he began, tone soft, diplomatic. "The cruise thing, it got messy. We understand if you're upset." Mom nodded eagerly. "Yes, dear, it was just miscommunication. Things got blown out of proportion. We were hurt too, you know?" Hurt. The word felt cheap in her mouth. I didn't touch the bag. "Is this about the money?" Mom smiled, that brittle expression she uses when she's choosing her next lie. "Of course not." Dad said yes at the same time. The air cracked. Mom shot him a glare sharp enough to cut through drywall. He coughed, tried to cover it with, "Well, in part. We just didn't want things to fester." "Right," I said slowly. "So you booked another trip behind my back again?" Their smiles froze. Mom blinked fast, then abruptly stood. "I left something in the car." She left before I could respond. 5 minutes passed. 10. Dad sat there pretending to check his watch. Then we both heard the car engine start. "She just needs a minute," he muttered. I stood. "I think we're done here, Dad." He sighed, grabbed the gift bag, and said, "We're trying, Nana. We really are." Then he left. When the sound of the car disappeared down the street, the silence hit hard. It felt different this time. Not relief, not anger. Just the heavy weight of knowing. I finally opened the bag. Inside was a crisp envelope. My stomach dropped as soon as I saw the logo. The Arizona Resort brochure from dinner. Same font, same colors. I pulled out the papers. Reservation confirmation. 5 nights, spa villa. My name on the receipt, and a second line under guest. I flipped to the last page. The payment details froze my blood. Card ending in 1174. My card. They had used my stored information from the cruise. Again. I checked my account online. A charge. $5,387.42. The air left my lungs. Not because of the money. I could handle that. But because of the message it carried. You don't get to choose. We do. James walked back in from the kitchen when he saw my face. What happened? They used my card, I whispered. They booked the resort. It's non-refundable. He stared at me for a long moment, then said, So what do you want to do? I turned the papers over in my hands. The dates were this weekend. The room was under my name, mine, and one guest. They expect me to cancel, I said. To call the resort, fix their mess, eat the cost. He raised an eyebrow. Then don't. That's how it started. Not revenge, not spite, just reclamation. When the weekend came, we packed our bags and went. The flight was short, and the Arizona air hit like a warm breath. The resort lobby gleamed with desert glass and quiet music. When the receptionist smiled and said, Welcome, Ms. Taylor, I felt something shift in my chest. That small, defiant click of dignity, finding its place again. Check-in took 10 minutes. The suite was bigger than expected. Private terrace, plunge pool, mountain view. The kind of place meant for serenity. James dropped our bags on the couch and looked around. This is nicer than I imagined. It should be, I said. I paid for it, twice. For 2 days, we stayed silent to the world. No calls, no texts. We hiked, swam, ate breakfast on the balcony, fell asleep with the curtains open. Peace had a sound again. Then, on the third morning, I made the mistake of turning my phone back on. Notifications poured in, missed calls, dozens of messages. My sisters, my parents, even my aunt. The first one that loaded made me laugh out loud. Not out of humor, but disbelief. Mom, did you seriously take the trip? Dad, the resort says the room is occupied. You humiliated us again. I scrolled through the chaos. The fury, the guilt-tripping, the word selfish appearing more times than punctuation. James read over my shoulder. Let me guess. They showed up? Probably at the front desk, I said. They thought they could still check in. Sure enough, a voicemail from my older sister confirmed it. Mom's crying. They won't let them in. They said the reservation's under your name only. I took a slow breath and hit record on a new voicemail. Mom, I said, my voice steady, you stole from me. This is what happens when you steal. Actions have consequences. Then I hung up. That night, I looked out at the desert skyline glowing gold in the dusk and realized something strange. For the first time, their anger didn't reach me. It just stopped at the border I'd finally drawn. For years, I'd believed that love meant giving until it hurt, that family drama was just proof of loyalty. But that night, under the amber Arizona sky, I understood something else. Peace isn't selfish, it's earned. By the time we flew back from Arizona, I'd decided one thing for sure. I wasn't going to chase an apology that would never come. But my parents didn't leave room for peace. They turned the silence into their stage. It started with a photo my cousin Lily posted online. A backyard barbecue. Everyone smiling like nothing had ever happened. My parents were front and center. The caption read, Family first, no drama, just love. I might have ignored it, except someone commented underneath, Where's Nana? Mom replied within minutes. She chose not to come. We don't know why. She's been acting strange lately. That single sentence turned the knife, because she knew exactly what she was doing, rewriting the story before I even had a chance to breathe. I didn't respond. But later that night, my youngest sister, Maya, texted me. Maya, they're lying to everyone. I'm sorry. She sent a photo, the old cruise itinerary I'd made. My name was printed first, primary card holder. She wrote beneath it, I'm going to tell the truth. I stared at her message for a long time before replying, Nana, you don't owe me that, Maya. Just take care of yourself. But the next morning, my phone started buzzing again. Not from family this time, but from the people who'd once believed my parents' version. Aunt Karen messaged first. I had a feeling. Can you send me the invoice? I did. All 5 tickets, 2 upgraded cabins, flights, spa packages, every charge under my name. Her reply came fast. Holy hell, Nana. Word travels fast in families that pretend not to gossip. By evening, 3 cousins and 1 uncle had already reached out. Questions started circling like vultures. Who paid? Why did they tell people you canceled? Why would they use your card again? Every text I received untangled a new thread of the story my parents had spun. How they'd been claiming for weeks that I'd gone unstable, that the cruise was meant to give me space, that they were heartbroken, I'd chosen distance. But now, with the receipts out there, their narrative was collapsing. James watched me sift through messages at the kitchen counter, his arms folded. You know what this reminds me of? I glanced up. What? That story you told me about Melissa, my ex, the way she'd lie so thoroughly she started believing herself. I smiled faintly. Except this time, the liar didn't expect me to have proof. That night, I went through my old travel folder. Every email, every PDF, every invoice I'd saved, just in case. I took screenshots and organized them neatly. Not to post, not to expose, just to have receipts ready for when someone asked. Because someone always asks. 2 days later, I got a call from a blocked number. I let it ring out the first 2 times. On the third, curiosity won. Hello? It was Dad. His voice was careful, each word placed like a chess piece. We didn't think it would go this far, he said. Your mother's been upset. Upset? I asked. You stole my money twice. That was a misunderstanding, he countered. We thought... I cut him off. You thought my silence meant permission. He sighed. Your mom just wanted to feel appreciated. There it was again. That word. Appreciated. The currency of guilt. I said nothing. The silence stretched until he finally muttered, We're sorry if things got misinterpreted. If. That word burned more than the theft. When I hung up, James was watching me from the doorway. Let me guess, he said. He apologized for how you reacted? Close enough. The next morning, a letter arrived in the mail. No return address, but I recognized my mother's looping handwriting instantly. Inside, a cream card embossed with gold leaves. Her favorite kind. The ones she used for performative sincerity. We didn't mean for it to go this far. We just wanted to feel appreciated. Sorry if we crossed a line. That was it. Not sorry for the theft. Not sorry for the lies. Just sorry they'd been caught. I slipped the card into a drawer and didn't respond. Over the next week, the ripple effect grew louder. My cousin Lily posted again. A vague quote about family who smile to your face while erasing you behind your back. Everyone knew exactly who she meant. By the weekend, even Mom's closest friends stopped liking her posts. The empire of appearances was cracking. Then, on Sunday afternoon, Maya called. She didn't say hello, just breathed into the phone for a few seconds before whispering, I can't keep lying for them. They told me to block you. My chest tightened. Did you? No, she said. I told them I'm spending Christmas with you and James, if that's okay. I blinked, stunned. You sure? You don't have to... I want to, she said, firmer now. I'm done pretending. I smiled through tears I didn't expect. Of course it's okay. That night, she sent me a screenshot of her flight receipt, paid with her own card. No requests, no expectations. Just proof that love can still exist without debt. And for the first time in years, I felt something I didn't recognize at first. Relief. No more guilt. No more family group chats engineered like traps. No more chasing the version of daughterhood that costs me everything. It was just me, James, and Maya, and the quiet that finally felt safe. But I knew better than to think the story was over, because in my family, calm is only the breath before another storm. By early December, the truth had done what truth always does. It traveled farther than lies could run. I didn't post anything online. I didn't have to. Screenshots travel faster than gossip, and screenshots don't stutter. My cousin Lily was the first to publicly ask, so who actually paid for that cruise? She didn't tag anyone, but she didn't have to. People knew. Within a day, half the family's social media turned into polite confusion and passive-aggressive silence. Then came the private messages, the ones that start with, hey, just checking in, but end with, is it true your parents used your card? I sent them the receipts, all of them. Clear, cold evidence. My name as payer, my signature, my card statement. No commentary, just proof. By the second week, even Mom's favorite cousin, the one who always defended her, messaged, you deserve better, Nana. This is unbelievable. The power shift was almost tangible. For once, I wasn't the family's problem. I was the story they couldn't spin away. That's when Mom started her apology tour. She posted a family quote on Facebook. Sometimes love means giving each other space. It got 4 likes, 2 from strangers, and 1 from a church acquaintance who probably hadn't heard the gossip yet. Dad stayed quiet. He always does when things burn too close to home. But Mom wasn't done. She started calling my aunts, crying that I'd turned people against her. One of them recorded the call and sent it to me. I didn't listen right away. I didn't need to. I'd already lived the script. Then, on a Thursday evening, she broke the silence with a single text. Mom, we need to talk before Christmas. No greeting, no apology, just a demand dressed up as civility. James read it over my shoulder. Are you going? He asked. I stared at the words for a long time. No, she doesn't want to talk. She wants control. He nodded. Then we give her nothing. So we didn't reply. 2 days later, the group chat, the one I'd muted months ago, started lighting up again. Christmas Eve dinner plans, photos of decorations, recipes, fake cheer. My name wasn't mentioned until the very bottom of the thread. Karen, Aunt. Is Nana coming this year? Mom, let's not bring her up. She has other plans. Older sister. Unless she's paying, then she's suddenly available. Maya sent me a screenshot, then another message. Maya, I already told them. I'm spending Christmas with you and James. I booked my flight. She attached her receipt again, as if to prove it. I stared at it, smiling through a rush of emotions I couldn't name. Pride, sadness, maybe something softer too. For so long, I'd measured love by what I gave. Now I was learning to measure it by what people did without being asked. When Christmas week arrived, I didn't decorate the way my mom used to. No perfect tree, no matching napkins, no performative joy. Just small lights around the window, a table for 3, and peace that didn't need an audience. Maya arrived late on the 23rd. She looked older somehow, not in years, but in how she carried herself. She hugged me like someone stepping out of a storm. I almost didn't come, she admitted. Mom said if I left, I was choosing sides. I brushed her hair back from her face. You didn't choose sides, I said. You chose sanity. James smiled from the doorway, handing her a mug of cocoa. Welcome to the quiet side, he said. We spent Christmas morning doing nothing spectacular. Pancakes, old movies, sunlight. No guilt, no manipulation, just warmth. But then, as if the universe couldn't stand the idea of peace, my phone buzzed again. A new voicemail. From Mom. I almost deleted it, but something made me listen. Her voice came through soft, weary, rehearsed. Nana, your sister isn't answering. We just wanted everyone together this year. You know how fragile family can be. We'll forgive you if you stop this nonsense. Call us back. We'll forgive you. That line hit harder than the rest. Because it wasn't about peace, it was about power, even now. James saw my face and asked, You okay? I handed him the phone. Listen to that. They still think forgiveness runs one way. He placed the phone down carefully. Then maybe it's time you stop asking for closure. That night, while Maya slept on the couch and snow began to fall outside, I drafted one final message to my parents. I'm not angry anymore. I'm just done. Please don't contact me unless it's about something real, not guilt, not money, not appearances. I wish you peace, but I'm keeping mine. I didn't send it right away. I waited until midnight, Christmas Day, then hit send. The message turned blue. Delivered. Read. No reply. And that silence felt like freedom. 3 months have passed since that Christmas message. I haven't heard a single word from them. Not a call, not a text, not even a backhanded quote on Facebook. And for once, the silence doesn't ache. It heals. Life without their noise feels like breathing clean air after years of smoke. I wake up without checking my phone for guilt-laced messages. I cook breakfast without rehearsing imaginary arguments. And every time I look at my bank app, I smile, because the only transactions there now are mine. Maya stayed with us for 2 weeks after the holidays. She helped me repaint the living room, humming while James played old records in the background. We didn't talk much about our parents. Some wounds don't need words. They just need space. One night, as we were cleaning up dinner, she said quietly, Do you think Mom really believed what she did was okay? I paused, wiping my hands on a towel. I think she believed what made her comfortable, I said. That's the problem with people like her. They mistake comfort for love. Maya nodded, staring into her cup. I used to think family meant forgiving anything. Now I think it just means not letting it happen again. That's when I knew she'd grown past them too. When she left for college in February, she hugged me tight and whispered, Thank you for showing me what peace looks like. After she boarded her flight, I stood in the terminal for a long time, realizing how strange it felt to cry happy tears. By spring, people had stopped asking about the cruise story. The whispers faded. My parents stayed quiet online. No posts, no new vacations, no grand declarations of family first. But sometimes when I check my spam folder, I still find traces of them. Old invitations, chain messages from mom's church friends, even one email with the subject line, "We just wanted to feel appreciated again." I never open them. I don't need to. Their need for validation is an echo I've finally outgrown. Instead, I've started something new. James and I host a small workshop every other Saturday, Boundaries and Balance. It began as a joke after a friend from work asked how I managed to stay calm during family drama season. Now, 10 or 12 people come by our local library meeting room each week. Teachers, nurses, young parents, even one retired man who said, "My grown kids treat me the way I once treated my mother. I want to understand before it's too late." We share coffee, stories, and quiet revelations. And every time someone says, "I thought I was the only one," I remember the Arizona desert. That moment I realized peace isn't selfish. It's survival. A few days ago, I got another text from Maya. Just a photo this time, her dorm desk, covered in textbooks, and a tiny cactus with a note stuck to it that said, "For the girl who learned to grow in dry places." She'd captioned it, "Thanks for teaching me." I sat there staring at that photo for a long time, tears blurring the screen, because that was it, the whole story, distilled into one quiet truth. I spent years trying to earn love from people who only valued what I could give. I mistook compliance for connection and guilt for care. But when I finally stopped paying for their comfort, I discovered the kind of peace money could never buy. Now, when people ask if I miss my parents, I don't hesitate. I say, I miss the idea of them, not the reality. Because the real loss wasn't the money, or the betrayal, or even the family title. It was the years I spent believing that being a good daughter meant being an endless resource. That version of me, the spare daughter, the fixer, the provider, doesn't exist anymore. And I don't regret her ending. This morning, James poured me coffee and said, "You realize this is the first time you haven't mentioned your family in weeks?" I laughed. Guess I finally ran out of things to fix. He smiled. Or maybe you just learned you were never broken. I looked out the window, sunlight spilling over the street, soft and ordinary, and for once, that was enough. No more spare daughter. No more family that only loved me when I was paying. Just Nana Taylor, finally free, finally whole, finally home.